Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to team meeting number 56. We have some new classes for you. We're going to be launching incentives pretty soon. We have some questions about Canvas, the iOS and Android access. We have some classes that are available and a technical updates, and we'll be moving email servers, which is a very important point, which we'll be coming to later. But first, over to Rob.
All right, well, thank you all for coming today to our team meeting. It's hard to believe that we've had 56 of these suckers over the last several years. This is great. So what I'd like to do is turn it over a little bit to Dan, who's going to talk about the new classes we've got available. So Dan Kirk, are you there?
Yep. So we had another proposal for a beginning writing course. We've heard a lot, which is reassuring, from professional partners in business and trade, that writing is a skill that is sort of lacking. I don't want to say lacking, but they find a need for employees to brush up on their writing. So we have a handful of guess like I would call them core writing skills courses, just nothing too into the discipline of English writing, but more general writing skills courses to get people back on their feet. And again, we've said this before, but I think it's great to have a bunch of options from a bunch of instructors offered at a bunch of different times with different styles and approaches. It's only going to help students get what they need from whom they would like to be taught. And we approved integrated rural tourism, which is a great class. It's going to be geared toward folks who are in perhaps parks and recreation departments, tourism, even community development and sort of public administration style programs. If you're at all interested in tourism and revenue generation and understanding the systems of all that for a town or municipality, this would be a great class for you. Again, even hotel management, those kinds of courses, it's good to think in a bigger system than perhaps just your discipline. So understanding complementary or even competing fields will help you in your job and in your approach to making decisions and implementing plans where you work. So those are the two newest ones. I guess I can also just jump into Linda Kaiser's instruction courses for Oplerno faculty. Those courses are up and ready to go. Daniel, are they? We never caught up on if they're on the marketplace yet, but if they're not, we'll do that with the next sync.
Yeah, they should be on the marketplace. I'll have to double check whether they actually have prices attached.
Okay.
I'll check that. If they have prices attached, then of course they'll come up in the list.
Perfect. So we have had a fair amount of interest, and there's essentially two tracks, so to speak, of these courses. One is a course design track, and there's an intro, beginner, and then an advanced. And the other one is, so that's course design, like layout and using Canvas and all that kind of stuff. And the other half is like a pedagogical approach. So again, there's an intro and an advanced level there to help you organize your content in an effective way for teaching in your teaching style online. Those will be $150 for 2-week sessions. They are full of information. They're perfectly well organized. I was really impressed to look through them. They didn't require any feedback from us. They were that good, and they should help faculty get their courses. You know, they're sort of like an acceleration experience for you. If you need something, you know, I know I do. Like when I pay for a X, Y, or Z, it kind of holds my feet to the fire and says, you paid for this, you got to show up, or you got to keep checking in or attend. So if that's how you work as well, it's $150. It's a 2-week crash course. You can do both of them. You can do one of them. You can do just whatever's appropriate for you, and you can get your course up and running sooner perhaps than if you were doing it just on your own. So those are up there. We will post those to the notes as well with the titles and links, so you can go jump directly to those. But they're on the marketplace, and you can search either by instructor, who is Linda Kaiser, that's Kaiser, or by course title, which I can't recall all 4 course titles at the moment, but they all have Oplerno in the title. So actually I have them here: Oplerno Advanced Online Teaching, Oplerno Advanced Course Design, and then Oplerno Online Teaching Basics, and Oplerno Online Course Design Basics. So enjoy those if you're going to sign up. It's pretty exciting, and thanks to Linda for jumping on board and getting those done in a really swift fashion.
Yeah. No, son. I'm on a meeting with everybody in Oplerno, so can you give me some time? We'll talk about it.
Everybody on the planet.
Sorry about that. I had a question from my son, so I didn't catch that last bit. And if I don't need to know about it, then or I already know about it, then don't repeat it. Are we done? Can we move on to the next point?
I believe so. Yep.
Okay. Why don't we talk about the incentives piece a little bit towards the end? So let's go to Canvas iOS Android app access.
I can start, and then I guess Daniel, you'll probably be more effective to finish. But we had a question from one of our instructors who would like to log into an app on her phone, and I didn't know the answer because I've used it, but not since we switched to the single sign-on. So on your computer, obviously, you sign into Canvas and the Marketplace via the same portal and the same login screen. So what that does is essentially logs you in with one password to both places, and that password is stored encrypted, of course, but it's stored in the Marketplace, not with Canvas. It vouches for you, essentially, for you to get into Canvas. So when logging into the app, Daniel, do you have to create a separate account or like a second password for your phone or iPad or tablet, or is it something?
Well, according to the Canvas instructions, and of course I can't verify this on iOS, but this is how it worked on my Android phone, was that I was redirected to the Marketplace to sign in, and I was able to sign in by using the Marketplace. So for me that didn't work, but I'm assuming that I think there might be a bug on iOS. But I've also checked on some other. I mean, after getting this question, I assumed there was some bug on iOS. I've also checked on numerous sites from other universities using Brown who are also using the single sign-on method, and they all give exactly the same instructions. So I'm at a loss to know exactly what the issue is that this faculty member was facing.
The Canvas, I use the Android app for Canvas, and it works great. You do have to. What you need to be doing is signing on using your Marketplace password to the Canvas site, through the Canvas app, and it will send you straight through. I don't know about the iOS piece, but the Android app works fine on my Android-based, my Droid phone. So give us a call if you've got an issue with that, and we might be able to walk you through it.
There's also I was using an old iOS app. There's a newer one, and it was not indicated in my updates screen. It has a new title, and it looks like it's a completely new app, even though they call it an update. So if you've been using the old has a red icon, red and white icon, that's now like a multicolored sort of not pixelated but triangulated icon. So if you haven't updated, you can also do that.
Okay, why don't we talk a little bit about, let's go now to hopping around Slack and talking about email servers, and then we'll talk about the incentive piece.
Well, there's also some other technical updates from me, which I want to add as well. But we can do that.
Well, why don't we? Okay, why don't we do the? So, Daniel, why don't you take what? Why don't you talk to people about the particular items that you've got that you want everybody to know?
Yeah, of course we'll have incentives, which we'll be discussing later. But one of the most important changes that we've made on the site is actually one of the biggest complaints that we've had, and one of the biggest barriers that we've had for people actually being able to get to take a course, or to at least to get to a point that they can take a course, is user creation. So first, initially we had that you had to create a user manually. You have to go through the whole thing. You get warned that you have to create a user, and rather than creating a user, when I say take this course, they'll actually go through say to create the user, allow you to pay for it, and actually send all the information to your email. We were doing a manual steps, but now we've changed that around. So it's as easy to apply for a course as clicking on take this course, setting up your paying for the course that you want to take. You'll automatically have a user created for you. You can actually go and take this course. There might be some issues at a later stage when people forget to log in or something like that, and they create a new one. But we'll be going through that, make sure that we match these accounts if necessary. But I don't foresee any problems with that at the moment. Another thing is that I've had some bug fixes, of course, which I always do. Some changes, some minor changes, which I doubt that you'll notice. And another thing that you might see is we have some changes on the front page, which would come live, I think, this afternoon, in your afternoon, the US afternoon. Is that we'll have a slightly different front page with the courses which are coming up, which are starting in the next 2 months, whereby people will actually get a preview of what the course is, how much it costs, and can enroll straight from the front page, which makes it slightly easier, or get more information, of course. But they can see more from the front page, so they can actually get there. So I'm hoping that people will be slightly more interested, and they won't need to click as far through to actually get the information that they're looking for. Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. I think the creating the user is going to be great. It'll help. It'll make it much more easier for people to sign up for classes, which is exactly what we need to be working on. Let's talk a little bit about the Slack. So invites to Slack going out by mail.
Yep. So we've run a little bit of an experiment with Slack recently, and we hope that people would see what we posted about our experiment and actually sign up. Sadly, that wasn't the case. In the short experiment that we ran, very little happened. So what my proposal is actually to send out to a large group, or say 50% of our faculty, send out invites to see actually what they do, whether they respond, so we can actually get people on there and talking.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, Slack is a great tool. There are some communities popping up in Slack that are generating an incredible amount of back and forth, and creating a lot of value for the users. And we want Oplerno's community to be doing the same thing. But you've got to create some incentives to make that happen, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. The most important, though, thing that we need to just discuss is, and also you'll be getting a message from us about this, is talking about moving the email servers. Yeah,
indeed. Yeah, but we have come to the end of life of GoDaddy. Not that GoDaddy is going away, but we're planning on going away from GoDaddy. It's been good while it lasted, and we see that we need room to expand more than GoDaddy is going to enable us to do. We want to also extend our single sign-on to GoDaddy, so that you can actually use your email address for your username password for your email will be the same as for your marketplace account. So we can actually combine these together and have a better control over it, and better control for you as well, which is one of the most important things.
So the email is going to change, but we'll be sending you out instructions on that over the next couple of weeks. So just be prepared. Now, we're going to have a little bit of a freewheeling discussion right now about incentives for the last 10 minutes. I'm going to tee it up to use a bad golf analogy. One of the things about growing Oplerno is, we've talked a bunch about the fact that you need content to attract students, you need students to attract faculty, and you need faculty to build content. And so generating that feedback loop between those three things is really the job number one at Oplerno right now. We've got our technological stuff is always improving. The pedagogy, Canvas, Instructure, and the marketplace, they're excellent right there in terms of what we've got right now. But what we have to do is provide a way for people to start using the ecosystem, using the foundation that we've developed. So last week we talked a little bit about incentives, and we spent a bunch of time last week building out and creating an incentive for student recruitment. So to start with, the basic idea is that what we're trying to do is have people refer students to us, and then what would happen is the student who takes a class would get credit off of the course they sign up for. And the people who are doing the referring, okay, so you refer 5 of your friends, that you would receive a credit that you could use to pay for a class. And this does a couple of different things. This sort of creates a built-in viral marketing piece where people are talking to their friends about Oplerno and also doing a little bit of the recruitment, and generates a lot of buzz. One thing that became really apparent after doing a little bit of digging is that there are a few if you're an American citizen or you live in the United States of America, you're actually, it's according to the new Federal Higher Education Acts, you cannot be paid to receive any kind of remuneration for the recruiting of a student. And that's a really good law, because what it does is it prevents people from basically going out recruiting students for a particular college or university and getting a kickback. And it was basically designed, after you do a little digging, designed to prevent colleges from engaging in predatory recruitment practices, and that's a really important thing. The problem is that the laws were designed to protect the student loan, to prevent fraud in terms of student loans. So in other words, colleges and universities using federal aid programs, especially Pell Grants and subsidized Stafford and unsubsidized Stafford loans, and recruiting students into these schools, paying full tuition, the students not being successful, and then the college, of course, gets to keep the money, and the students are stuck with the bill. The U.S. law, though, allows for the recruitment of foreign students outside the United States, what they call foreign students, that you can create incentives for the recruitment of foreign students. So you can't create any kind of incentives for the internal U.S. market okay, where Americans are, sorry, not Americans, where United States citizens are recruiting other U.S. citizens or people living in the U.S. But what you are allowed to do is you can create incentives for people to recruit students from outside the U.S. to attend institutions in the United States. Okay? So the complicating factor is we are an approved institution by the state of Vermont. We are a Delaware corporation, which means that we have to follow the rules both of the United States and also the rules of Vermont. It's not a problem. We're totally following all the rules. So the incentive program that we're launching it's tricky for U.S. citizens to participate in because we're not going to allow, you guys can't receive any type of compensation or incentive to help us with getting the word out about Oplerno. So, so basically, you can work and recruit people from outside the United States to take a class with Oplerno, and you'll be able to participate in this incentive program. But you can't recruit or you can get the word out, but you can't receive any kind of remuneration for people who are in the United States of America. Okay. Dan and Daniel and Sujin, do you want to add anything to what I've said in terms of restrictions? It's an unfortunate thing, but we need to follow the rules even more so than others, who sometimes play it fast and loose in terms of how they're doing it, how they're doing student recruitment. But yeah, what do you guys want to add anything?
So I'd like to add at least one thing. Two things. Firstly, we later at a certain point we were thinking, well, what are ways to get around this? Of course, I mean, what are ways legally that we can do something? But the letter of the law also states that it doesn't actually talk about financial. It just talks about any type of kickbacks. So we couldn't even send you a T-shirt as thank you. We couldn't even send you stickers. I mean, nothing. We can't send. I mean, for a US citizen, we can't send them anything as a thank you, except for an email. So that's what we're going to do. And for our
non-U.S. citizens.
Yeah, for the rest of the world, they can also not, of course, recruit U.S. citizens. I mean, there's U.S. citizens can't recruit U.S. citizens. The rest of the world also can't recruit U.S. citizens. U.S. citizens are basically off limits. So, but if you have friends in the EU or anywhere else on the planet, and you think that they could actually use this program, then certainly I'd love for you to invite them to participate.
I've got a question. Can a U.S. citizen who is abroad for a semester utilize this opportunity?
Nope. It's really unclear in terms of the letter of the law,
so
whether or not. Don't even bother. So when we're launching the incentive program, we're going to have 2 tracks. One is for the non-U.S. citizen and one is for the U.S. citizen. If you're a U.S. citizen, we would still really love it for you to refer friends to our program, and that will help lower their cost of education. Okay, but we can't help you by lowering your cost of education. Okay, that's our incentive program is all centered around lowering the costs and creating more access. But the way the law is written for U.S. citizens or people living in the United States of America, we can't do this for you. So this is going to be something that's really targeted for outside the U.S. You can, your friends can take advantage, meaning, we'll cut if you refer 5 of your friends to Oplerno, okay, we will lower their tuition levels, okay, by giving them the discount, which we'll talk a little bit about. But if you're an American citizen, we can't give you any type of remuneration or lower fee for the fact that you referred 5 people. And it's unfortunate, but the rules are the rules, and so luckily there are only 450 million U.S. citizens that we have to deal with. The rest of the world can participate in this program and really dramatically lower the costs for their schooling if you would like. The only other piece that we want to add is that we have a whole list in our description about being ethical in terms of telling people up front that Oplerno right now is approved to offer courses for transfer credit by the state of Vermont. So if they're trying to transfer their course to another institution, it's best to get approval for that ahead of time. But we can't guarantee that that course is going to transfer to is going to be approved for transfer credit into another school. So it's really important to be ethical about this, and also really important to remember that you should be looking out for your friends and your referees, and not having them take classes that aren't going to improve their their potential job prospects or get them into a bad economic financial situation. You got to be really ethical and above board with this. Oplerno is about doing no harm and helping people, and so when you're doing the referrals, this is not sell a bunch of classes and lower your tuition and everybody else gets screwed in terms of paying a lot of money. No, we don't want this we do not want to create that with this refer a friend and this incentive program. What we want to do is create a way for you to get a bit of a break on your education, to get the word out about Oplerno, and your friends to get a lower rate of cost for their classes.
And I want to just mention one thing, of course, that our faculty members, none of our faculty members are paying for this. This all comes out of Oplerno's end. This is completely us doing this referral program. So if you have a faculty member whose courses you would like to see, they're not losing any money because we're doing this.
Yep, this is all coming out of all being funded internally with what we're doing. Does Daniel or Sujin, do you guys want to add anything?
I think you covered pretty much everything I wanted to say.
Okay. Okay, great. Dan, what about you?
I just want to sort of warn everybody that this is a new program for us, and it's an uncommon approach in higher ed right now, probably for a number of reasons, mostly because of the U.S. rules, and there's probably some reasons we could, conjecture about. But so there might be, it's going to be a learning process. It might find great success, and it might not, and that's okay. But we need to do things that are different because we are different. We need to do things that are different because the status quo isn't necessarily always what's correct. And so this is one way that we can try to help our faculty. It's a way to have a sort of card to hand out when you're meeting people and say, hey, if you sign up, then here's my link, you'll get $50 discount. That's great. So yeah, give it a shot, and it's something tangible to offer too. It's a nice safe offer that, again, we are going to take the discount out of our share, and faculty members will still be getting paid their 80 to 90% depending on their course price.
Yep, and remember that this is an amazing opportunity for you people out there who want to take classes, that you can dramatically lower the price that you're paying by doing some referrals for us. because while we've been successful recruiting faculty, we're still struggling with recruiting students, and this will give them a real incentive to get the word out and really take charge of the platform. Go on, tell us what courses you want, recruit your friends, build the kind of education that you want to see happening. Don't just be satisfied with what large institutions are giving you in terms of choices. Oplerno will let you have more choice than you've experienced in higher ed before. So join the change, join the revolution. That's what we want. Okay. I think that's been 30 minutes. Next week we're not going to have a team meeting unless because I won't be there, but people might log in. Actually, guys, are you going to have a team meeting or not?
Yes, I'm always going to have a team meeting, even if it's just me sitting in front of the camera talking. Okay,
so we'll have a team meeting next week. I will not be there, but we're going to have a team meeting. And if you all have any questions about the incentive program, please shoot us an email, and we'll get back to you. We're going to launch it in beta in small groups, sending it out to a few people, not everyone right off the bat. So if there are any faculty members who have concerns, please let us know. And also we know that there are a lot of other people who listen in on our team meetings. And again, if you have any suggestions on how to improve the incentive program, or what's copacetic, what isn't, please let us know. We'd love the feedback.
And just one more thing, there will be some sort of check and balance situation to ensure that the referrals are being followed through on. So it's not just a matter of signing up and getting your the money, or the discount, I should call it. It's going to entail, students taking the course, signing up, taking the course, and completing at least some significant portion of it.
Yeah, 4 weeks of the class.
At least.
So,
at least. Yep.
Just to be clear that you won't get the credit, the financial money discount credit immediately, but you will after the referred student. The referred student gets the discount, of course, when they sign up. The referrer, the person who gives the referral, will have to wait for that student to sort of follow through before we can be sure that everyone's doing the right thing.
Yeah. Yep. Before they get that that credit, that discount. All right. I think that's it. We're going to go into closed session. We'll see you guys next week, and thank you very much for tuning in. Lots of pretty cool, exciting things. I didn't get a chance to update you on different feedback that we've received from some businesses and workforce development, but we'll probably do that in 2 weeks, and when I'm back, and we'll talk later. So see you online.
Yep, and there's just two things that I want to add before we go. In 10 days, we'll have introductory to psychology starting, and in 30 days, we'll have principles of sociology. Go to enroll.oplerno.com and sign up. Thank you very much. See you online.